Hey YouTube, I'm here today for a review for you guys. Today's review is going to be on the new Space Marine Codex, 6th edition Codex for Warhammer 40k. So I'm going to be dividing up the videos into categories based on units type. This first video, it's just going to be kind of general stuff, no units in this video. I'm going to go over all the chapter tactics, warlord traits, and the units that have been changed. And then if you want to see more, HQ video, there's going to be a troop video, there's going to be elites, heavy support, etc., etc. But I'm really just going to talk about the Codex and what I think about it in this video. So first, the cover. It looks great. I'm really sorry that it's backwards, just how webcams work, but I really like it. Of course, the Ultramarines are on the cover and on the back. Here we have Storm Talon. We've got Storm Raven. We've got, I think that's a Stalker. Might be a Hunter, though. Terminators, Centurions, Stern Guard, Space Marines, Chaplain, all kinds of cool stuff on the back. Really nice Codex, hardbound. This is almost 2 times the size of a normal Codex. It's 180 pages. It's great. It's totally worth the price, if anything is. Like, I mean, obviously they did, pay $60 to make this. Games Workshop didn't pay that to make this, and so there is increase. But if anything is worth buying in when you play 40k, it's this Codex, because I don't know, like I feel like every single person that plays 40k has played Space Marines. Knows what Space Marines are, or has a Space Marine army currently. I mean, the Space Marines, they're the most popular army. No matter what chapter you choose, I mean, like, Space Marines, they're just popular. So if you really want to know thy enemy, or if you want to know thy friend, or if you just want to know your army, you need to pick this up. This is my only Codex. This is my first Codex. I didn't pick up a Grey Knights one. I didn't think it was necessary because I had the PDF, and I'm going to pick one up now that I've seen this and how great this is and how useful the information in here really is. So if you're thinking about getting a PDF, I mean, you can do that. You can put the PDF on your phone. I mean, you can look through it, but really, it's not the same as having this Codex. It's great. I can't say enough good things about it. Now, this Codex was released on Saturday for most people. I got it Friday from my local store. I've been reading it ever since, so I'm sorry it took so long, but I really wanted to get familiar with it. I wanted to learn, everything I could about it and really help you guys know as much as you could about it. For those of you who don't know, there's already been an FAQ up for these, just changing something, I think, with bike squads and command squads as far as weapons go. I think that's the only thing that's been changed so far in the FAQ, but it's pretty crazy. They released an FAQ that fast. They really pay attention to what's in here, which is nice. Games Workshop, they're on the game. So, yeah, let's get into this Codex. I'm going to show you the inside cover. Looks great. I really like it. It's got random Space Marines just chilling, shooting stuff, killing stuff. It's nice. I like it. This Codex was written by Robin Crudis, and for those of you who are curious, the cover art was done by Raymond Swanland. So definitely good job, Raymond. Good job. I dig it. I really dig the cover. It looks like the other covers, which is nice. I've seen the Dark Angels, Chaos Space Marines, Chaos Demons, Tau, and Eldar Codices, or Codi, or Codexes, whatever you like to call them. And it's got the same art style, so I think he might have done the other covers as well. But yeah, I really like this Codex. Here's another piece of art. We've got Imperial Fists, Chaos, and Ultramarines. Of course, they're stomping Chaos because this isn't a Space Marines Codex, and Space Marines never lose in their own Codex. So, yeah. There's a ton of fluff in here. There's pages and pages. Like, I think most of this Codex is fluff because just the way they set it up is really nice. I really like it, and I mean, really, if you want to know about the main Space Marine chapters and even some of the successor chapters, and you don't want to go read a 400-page book on each one, I think this would be good for you. If you just want to read about them and you're never going to play them, that's cool, because this has enough fluff to last you. It really does. I'm going to show you this. This just shows, all the really cool planets that each army comes from, which is really nice. I mean, not each army, I'm sorry, each chapter. It even shows the ones that aren't in the Codex, which is cool. It shows the Space Wolves of Fenris and the Blood Angels of Baal and that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. I really like seeing where each chapter is in relation to each other. So yeah, it shows this really cool mapping out of the history of Space Marines, and how they've been around for 10,000 years, and all the wars, all the way up to the 13th Black Crusade, starting with the Horus Heresy. That's pretty cool. Now with each chapter, they've got a nice little picture for you. Ultramarines are of course first because they get the most love. But it's really cool that they pretty much go into a 5-page backstory on each chapter, at least 5 pages. Ultramarines have a really long, Ultramarines start on page 20 and go to page 33. If that tells you anything. Then we have the White Scars right here, which is really cool. They start on page 34 and they go through page 39, so they get 5 pages. Got our Imperial Fists, which is cool. Starting on page 40, going to page 47. And then Crimson Fists are kind of weird in this codex. They have a 2-page entry. They're successors of the Imperial Fists, for those of you who don't know. They have a 2-page entry. They don't have their own chapter tactics. They're just there. I think the only reason why they have an entry is because Pedro Cantor was in the previous codex and they didn't want to take him out, so they had to give them something in the codex. Black Templars have 4 pages, and Salamanders have a few pages. They look really nice. I'll show you the Templars page, I guess. So yeah, there's Templars. Salamanders. And then we have the Iron Hand, wait, do we have Iron Hands? Do Iron Hands get an entry? I'm sure they do, somewhere. We have Raven Guard first. And something I thought was interesting, they have a random Thunderhawk gunship right there. They included an Apocalypse ship in this codex. There's no entry for it or anything, it just shows it. It says Raven Guard Thunderhawk gunship. Thought that was kind of weird. Then we have Iron Hands. So, yeah, and then, and they also give you a little info on the Unknown Foundings, that being the Exorcists, Firelords, Mentors, and Death Specters. And it also tells you some pretty cool stuff about, if you want to make your own chapter, which people do very often, and you can choose which chapter they descend from, or if they just don't have an unknown founding, so they can just take whatever chapter tactics they want. Some really cool art from, I believe this is Black Reach. So yeah, now we're going to go through Space Marine Special Rules, chapter tactics, and that sort of stuff. So I'm going to go through Warlord traits and all the chapter tactics, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about the Codex, and then that'll pretty much be it for this, and then I'll go into units in the later videos. Alright, so for Warlord traits, they have one Warlord traits table for the entire Codex. I thought that was kind of weird because each chapter is so different. Why do they all have one Warlord traits table? Honestly, I don't like the Warlord traits for this Codex. In my opinion, they're not as good as they should be. I know they don't want to make Space Marines overpowered because they need to be the average army. They need to be right in the middle of awesome and crap. So they need to find that middle ground, and they need to keep the Space Marines there. And I think they did a good job of that in this Codex, but there are some things that are really overpowered and some things that are really underpowered. Some combinations that are really good, some combinations that are horrible. I mean, it's an average Codex overall, but with certain units, got way too much, and certain units didn't get enough love, in my opinion. So, Warlord traits. On the roll of 1, you get Angel of Death, which gives the Warlord and his unit fear. Problem with fear is a lot of stuff is fearless. It's not going to help you very much because Tyranids, Orcs, a lot of Space Marines, they're just fearless. This isn't going to help you very much. But on the other hand, if you roll a 1, why would you expect a good Warlord trait? You know. Now, on the roll of a 2, you get the Imperium's Sword. It's a one-use only Warlord trait, which I really don't like because it's not really a... I don't know. I feel like Warlord traits should be all-game things. If it's not as good as a one-use only, that's cool. If the one-use only is better, I don't care. I'd rather have something that lasts all game. So this is one use only. You declare that you're using this at the beginning of one of your assault phases, and your warlord and his unit get Furious Charge until the end of the turn. It's okay. It'd be nice if the warlord and his unit got Furious Charge the whole game. Just saying. Just saying. I know if you roll a 2, again, you're probably not going to get a great warlord trait, but the thing is, a one-use Furious Charge isn't going to be a game changer. And I know warlord traits aren't supposed to be game changers. I don't really like the one-use only ones. Now on the roll of a 3, you get Storm of Fire. Again, one use only. At the start of your shooting phase, or any one of your shooting phases, a single friendly unit from Codex Space Marines can, within 12 inches of the Warlord, can reroll any failed to hit rolls. Now I understand why they did the within 12 inches of the Warlord, because the Warlord trait, so he has to give it to someone that is close enough for him to shout at, apparently. I don't know. It's close enough for him to inspire, I guess, is how they get to reroll their failed to hit. But it's okay. It makes one unit within 12 inches of your Warlord twin-linked. It's better than the roll of a 2, but again, one use only. I just don't like one use only traits. Now on the roll of a 4 is when it starts getting into your all-game traits. On the roll of 4, you get Rights of War. When taking morale tests, friendly units from Codex Space Marines within 12 inches of the Warlord use his leadership characteristic instead of their own. That's cool because Warlords are leadership 10. It's not cool because the lowliest of the low, the Space Marines, Tactical Marines, are leadership 8. So plus 2 leadership, I mean, yeah, you're going to be thankful for it if something comes up and you roll a 9. But, I don't know, it's not a great Warlord trait. You figure on a roll of a 4, you should be getting something worth your while. I feel that isn't great. I don't know, though. You can have a different opinion. On the roll of a 5, you get Iron Resolve. When determining assault results, add 1 to the total if your Warlord is locked in that combat. Now, roll of a 5, you should be getting something pretty good. And that's an add 1 to your combat, but really, do Space Marines lose combat that often that they really needed to add that in? It's only going to be worth something when you tie in combat or when you're losing by 1 in combat. I think that's the only time it's going to affect anything, and when you're fighting other Space Marines, when you're fighting Orcs, when you're fighting Tyranids, you're not going to have... I mean, okay, you lost combat, big deal. Well, I'm fearless, so I'm not going to run away anyways. But I add 1 to my combat score. That's great. But I'm still fearless. It's the same thing with the roll of a 1 getting fear with the Warlord and his unit. It's not going to help as much as we'd like it to. Now on the roll of a 6, you get Champion of Humanity. This one is the best out of all of them because it's the roll of a 6. It's not the best Warlord trait though. It's a little disappointing for me. As I said, I don't really care for these Warlord traits, and if there's something I'm missing that I just didn't notice with these traits, that you could use them in some configuration where they're really good, let me know in the comments, because I just don't see the potential for these. So, on the roll of a 6, you get Champion of Humanity. If your Warlord causes the enemy Warlord to be removed from play as the result of a challenge, he scores D3 extra victory points in addition to the usual amount earned for slaying the enemy Warlord in this scenario. Note that killing the enemy Warlord as the result of a sweeping advance does not award these extra victory points. So, in order for you to even use that Warlord trait, to have the potential to use it, you have to first assault the enemy Warlord. Now this will be easy in armies like Chaos, where they want to get into assault anyways, so they're going to let you assault them. And they may not know that your Warlord trait does that. They may have forgotten. So they might run up and assault you and do the work for you, and let you get Overwatch. But in armies like Tau and Eldar, or mainly Tau, because Eldar can be assaulty, but in armies like Tau and Eldar, where they like to shoot a lot, the HQ is not going to come to you. You're going to have to go to him. So if you have that trait, you're first going to have to get into combat with the enemy Warlord. You're going to have to challenge him, right? And then you're going to have to kill him. So there's a lot of variables, because there's a variable of you getting to the enemy warlord. There's a variable that maybe maybe he won't accept the challenge, because he can do that. He can deny the challenge if he knows you have that trait, and then he can just kill your warlord because your warlord's now in combat and isn't in a challenge. And maybe you have a weapon that you especially want to kill his warlord with. I don't know. But he can deny the challenge, you have to get into assault, and you have to kill him. That's the only way to get that. So you have to do 3 very major, very hard things to do before you get that. You have too much to do, and you can't be focusing on, I want to get those D3 extra victory points, because then after you have another variable. You don't know how many points you're going to get. You know you're going to get at least 2, because if you roll a 1 on a D3, you're going to get an extra 1. So base you get 1, you're going to get an extra 1 at least, so you get 2 to 4 victory points. So you can't count on any of these warlord traits to help you throughout the game, because you can't count on all of your units being within 12 inches of the warlord. You can't count on your enemy not being fearless. You can't count on Furious Charge or Twin Linked winning the game for you. And you definitely can't count on getting the warlord into assault and killing him. And in a challenge nonetheless. These are very unreliable warlord traits, unpredictable, and they're just not my favorite. I'm sorry for the rant, but that's just how I feel. Now, for chapter tactics, I feel they did a good job. I really like the chapter tactics for the most part. The least favorite chapter tactics group of mine is the Ultramarines, which is kind of weird because they're the favorite of the cover, the back, everything inside the codex. They get 13 pages of pure fluff in this codex. So, yeah, they're just, I don't know, I don't like the chapter tactics as much. I think I like everyone else's, though. Black Templars are to me. So, the way chapter tactics work is, basically each main chapter has a chapter tactics section. If you are running a successor chapter to one of these chapters, you gain their chapter tactics. You don't get to be like, I'm playing Iron Champions, they're descendant of the Imperial Fists, I'm going to run Raven Guard. You can't do that. That's not allowed. So be careful about choosing your successor chapters, because now it actually is going to matter as far as your special rules go. Now, most of the chapters are not successor chapters, all but one, and that is the Black Templars. Black Templars are successor of the Imperial Fists. They get their own chapter tactics. I believe they're technically called vows. No, they're chapter tactics. Yeah, it says the Black Templars are the exception to the successor chapters rules. They are successor chapter of the Imperial Fists, but use their own chapter tactics as detailed later in this section. So Black Templars are the only exception. Some people are mad about them getting rolled into this codex. It makes sense because then Games Workshop saves money, which, I don't know, I guess that's good. And the consumer that wants to play Black Templars or Space Marines that doesn't know yet, they save money because they don't have to buy 2 codices, codexes, whatever you like to call them, in order to play, to figure out what army they want to play. So if you're playing Space Marines, I mean, you're going to buy this. It's great. I really like that all these guys are in this one codex and they didn't make tons of supplements charging you extra money. This saves everybody money, and in the end, it's good. So let's get rolling into these chapter tactics and get off my rants and comments. So Ultramarines, instead of having 2 chapter tactics, which every chapter, besides the Ultramarines, has just 2 chapter tactics. Now, the Ultramarines have 1, and it is combat doctrines. And under the thing that says combat doctrines, there are 3 combat doctrines. So instead of 2 tactics, they get 3 doctrines. They have to be different because they're Ultramarines and they're on the cover. So the first doctrine is the tactical doctrine. Models in this detachment may reroll all to hit rolls of 1 made in the shooting phase. Models in this detachment's tactical squads instead reroll all failed to hit rolls made in the shooting phase. So you twin link all your tac squads and you let everyone else reroll all your 1s. Now remember, you can only use these once. Each doctrine can be used once per game, unless stated otherwise by some special rule. And you don't have to notify your opponent until the beginning of the turn that you use it. So say it's turn 3 and you want to use the Devastator Doctrine and you get to the shooting phase and you decide you want to use it. Too late, bro. You got to do it at the beginning of the turn. So you can't just wait to see how things unfold in your movement to decide you want to use a shooting one or shooting to assault, and etc., etc. Now, the next doctrine is the Assault Doctrine. It states units in this detachment can reroll their charge range. Models in this detachment's assault squads, bike squads, and attack bike squads instead have fleet. This just makes bikes even better, and bikes are great in this edition. I don't know why, but they just put tons of work into the bikes, making them a lot better, making White Scars a ton better, because they weren't even like a separate thing really before. But yeah, that's cool. The last doctrine is the Devastator Doctrine. Models in this detachment may reroll to hit with snapshots, including Overwatch shots. In addition, models in this detachment's Devastator squads have the Relentless special rule unless they disembark from a transport in their movement phase. That's cool because if you're out of range with your Devastators, you can move them up just slightly and still get your full shots, or for some reason somebody has to do snapshots or something. I don't know. It's a cool ability. You can only use one per turn, which is... I understand, because if you used Tactical, Assault, and Devastator all in the same turn, you would just, steamroll your opponent for that turn. I mean, you might not win the game by that, but it could definitely be a game changer if you use all three in the same turn. So that's it for Ultramarines. Sorry for talking so fast, but yeah, they're basically just random, one use only, which is, I don't really care for Ultramarines in this decks. Sorry. White Scars. Now, White Scars have got some nice chapter tactics. Of course, they're going to be based on bikes, because White Scars run tons of bikes. They even have this, which is just a huge thing of bikes, assault squads, land speeders, storm ravens, storm talon, razorback, tactical marines, Corsaro Khan. Cool stuff. So the first chapter tactic is Born in the Saddle. Models in this detachment with bike unit type automatically pass dangerous terrain tests and receive +1 to their Jink cover saves. That's nice because bikes are bikes and they're great for White Scars. In addition, they add 1 to their strength when resolving Hammer of Wrath hits. That's cool because assault is a thing. They also have Fight on the Move. Models in this detachment have the hit and run special rule. Note this does not apply to models in Terminator armor, Centurions. You get why you don't want Centurions or Terminators to have hit and run. So there you go. It's pretty cool. Again, it's pretty much bikes and bikes and bikes and bikes and bikes, and one assault squad and more bikes. White Scars are good with bikes. This is just how it goes. You want to use fast stuff? Go for White Scars. Yeah. We're going to move on to the Imperial Fists now. They have 2 chapter tactics as well. The first one is Bolter Drill. Models in this detachment may reroll all to hit rolls of 1 made with bolt pistols, bolt guns, storm bolters, heavy bolters, or combi weapons that are firing as bolt guns. So your bolters reroll all 1s if you're playing Imp Fists, which is awesome. It's great. That ability is amazing. It just doesn't apply to any of the special ammunitions, Hellfire, Kraken, Vengeance, or Dragonfire ammunition. So, yeah, your Stern Guard won't get that unless they use I don't know if they can use regular bolter ammo. They also have Siege Masters. Models in this detachment's Devastator squads and Centurion Devastator squads have the Tank Hunter's special rule and add 1 to the result when rolling on the building damage table. That is a nice ability because it makes Centurion Devastators worth something, because they're not otherwise. The assault ones are the better ones unless you're Imp Fists, in which case use either one because they're both good. So yeah, Imperial Fists are just good with guns. Makes sense. White Scars is good with bikes, Imp Fists is good with guns. Now, Black Templars. They have 2 chapter tactics as well, and they're not as good as all the rest of them because they are successor chapter. So yeah. The first one is Accept any challenge no matter the odds. When engaged in a challenge, Black Templars characters reroll all failed to hit rolls and have the Rending special rule. Makes Black Templars that much more good in close combat because they weren't good enough already. So yeah, they're just good at what they're good at. They also have Crusaders. Black Templars models have the Crusader and Adamantium Will special rules. In addition, Black Templars detachments have access to a special unit called the Crusader Squad. So yeah, extra stuff for Templars. Yeah, Iron Hands are the next chapter we're going to go over. These guys are all the robotic-y stuff that no one really plays. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen a single Iron Hands player. That's weird. I mean, I haven't seen a single Raven Guard player either, but still, Iron Hands. Alright, so the Flesh is Weak is their first chapter tactic. Everyone in the Iron Hands detachment gains Feel No Pain, 6 up, special rule. That's really helpful for your crappy units that don't really exist for Space Marines, but everything has Feel No Pain on 6 up. That's awesome. Also, if they benefit from like a 5 up Feel No Pain and they have this rule, they get the 5 up still. This doesn't take away anything. They also have Machine Empathy. All vehicles and characters in this detachment have the It Will Not Die special rule, even vehicles. Furthermore, Tech Marines and Masters of the Forge in this detachment add 1 to their Blessing of the Omnissa rolls. So that's cool. So yeah. Now, Salamanders. Now, for those of you who don't know who Salamanders are, they're really good with flamey weapons. I've only seen a couple people play Salamanders, so if you're going for a weird chapter that not a lot of people play, either go for Iron Hands, Salamanders, Raven Guard, or a random successor. So the first chapter tactic Salamanders have is Flamecraft. Models in this detachment can reroll their saving throws against wounds caused by flamer weapons. Furthermore, flamer weapons used by models in this detachment may reroll failed to wound rolls and armor pen rolls that do not result in glancing or penetrating hits. So, they're good with flamers, and if you try to hit them with a flamer, it bounces off of them and they laugh at you. So don't use flamers against salamanders, and if you're a salamander, use tons of flamers. That also includes melta-guns, by the way, for those of you who don't know. Multi-meltas, melta-guns, melta whatever, I don't know. They also have Master Artisans. During army selection, each character in this detachment may upgrade one of his weapons to have Master Crafted. That's cool because Master Crafted is cool. You get to reroll one of your misses. Then again, if you're using regular flamer, that's not a thing. But if you're using Melta, that's a thing. But it's only for characters. So. Now, our last section of chapter tactics is Raven Guard. They have Strike from the Shadows. Models in this detachment have the Scout special rule. In addition, on the first game turn, models in this detachment have the Stealth special rule. Bulky and very bulky models do not gain either rule. But that's cool. You have Scout with all Raven Guard and Stealth on the first turn. Also, they have Winged Deliverance. Jump infantry models in this detachment may use the jump packs in both movement and assault phases of the same turn. Furthermore, they must reroll failed to wound rolls caused by their Hammer of Wrath hits. So they're twin-linked on wounds. I don't know if that's hatred or something. In Hammer of Wrath, and they use their jump packs all the time. That's cool. Raven Guard are really good. Out of all of these, though, I think my favorite is probably Imperial Fists, because they're good with bolters and they're good with devastators. My least favorite being Ultramarines, because they're all one use only. I don't like that. So yeah, that's it for chapter tactics. Now, I figured I would go over some major changes in this codex, just so you guys can get an idea of how this codex differs from other ones. Now, something I'd like to mention, something that really annoyed me with the other codexes, or the other 6th edition codexes, is, I can't show you the page, I'm sorry. In the back, they have a little reference sheet. I'm just going to show you this. You know, a little reference sheet that opens very back. Alright, well, that reference sheet is usually bent. This one is completely straight, no bends. I love it. I'm sorry, I'm weird like that. I don't like things being bent. But what's really cool is in this reference sheet, gives you tons of references. Army special rules, warlord traits, armor saves, special rules, vehicle equipment, war gear, and even chapter tactics are in this reference sheet. So that's really cool because you're not going to have to look through your codex to find your chapter tactics and other various stuffs. I don't know. Random items that you might need. So yeah. The 2 new tanks that, if you are not aware of, are the Hunter and the Stalker. Those are Skyfire tanks, which are really good. One is, I believe, Heavy 4, Strength 7, AP2, and the other one's Strength 9, AP2, Heavy 1 or 2, something like that. But Skyfire, it's really cool. And Centurions, which were kind of disappointing because the Assault ones are the better ones. Devastators are kind of useless unless you're Imperial Fists. And that is because they are slow and purposeful, and they are very bulky, which means they cannot run, they cannot overwatch. That really sucks because you can't run or overwatch. It's as simple as that. So the assault ones are better because they have melee weapons, and they have ironclad assault launchers, and they have ranged weapons. So the ironclad assault launchers basically make it so when someone assaults you, they don't get a bonus attack, right? And you can assault through difficult or dangerous terrain with no benefit. I mean, with no penalty, sorry. That's really nice because when people assault your Centurions are going to die. That's just a fact. They have no invuln, they have a 2-up armor save. That's it. So your Centurions are going to get destroyed when they get assaulted. Maybe. If they're assault Centurions, they're not. No one's going to get a bonus. And then they have siege drills, which are really good because they're armor bane. So what I suggest doing is bringing in Land Raiders, putting Centurions in them, driving the Centurions close enough to a vehicle so that they can assaulting it, and then dying. They're a throwaway unit, and they're a very expensive throwaway unit, but they're not made to last unless they're Devastators, in which if you put them in the back, maybe they'll last the whole game. I don't know. Also, Land Speeder Storms are now transports. That's pretty cool because they can transport 5 scouts. It's nice. They can deep strike. They have scout movement, which is cool. So, for anyone that isn't Ultramarines, Land Speeder Storms will be a very good thing to use. Those are pretty much the big updates to units. I will go through the other updates to units, when I go over the specific unit type. But I really just wanted to give you a very quick, very brief overview of the whole entire codex. It's nice. I love it. It's worth every penny. So go buy it like right now. It's I can't even explain how much I love this codex. It's great. It's great. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to be starting up a Deathwatch army, so expect some videos on that. I'm going to be using the new models, probably unboxings coming soon. We'll see how it goes. But with that, I will see you guys in the next video covering HQs and warlordy type stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, do what you do. You guys are the best. I'll see you later.